You don't need a gym membership, you don't need a rack of dumbbells, you don't need gym machines for every single muscle group out there. What you actually need is your own body weight, gravity, and a simple plan that actually makes sense. Think about it. Last time you were at the beach or the pool and you hesitated before taking your shirt off. That is what we're solving here. Now think about the opposite version of that day. You're relaxed, you're not sucking anything in, you catch a glimpse in the mirror or a glass of a window and you see your physique. It's actually have that feeling of, wow, you actually look good to yourself. That feeling doesn't come from motivation, it comes from a body that's actually changed. And there's a second feeling too. It's less talked about and it's just as powerful. The day you finally hold a handstand push-up, or you do a muscle up, you do one of the calisthenics moves you've never done before. In that moment, you're finally holding the handstand for a good 10 seconds, right? That is proof of patience and consistency actually paying it off. And it tends to change how you carry yourself and everything else. So in this video, I'm gonna actually walk you through how to get in the best shape of your life with just simple calisthenics. No equipment required, just an actual pull-up bar. So I'm gonna cover why body weight training actually works. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a complete framework on how to actually start. So let's get right into it. Let's actually start the why, because getting into calisthenics is just getting into calisthenics, starting right away. It's actually understanding before getting into it. Calisthenics is just training using your own body weight with push-ups, pull-ups, and dips, and the amount of resistance that it takes in order to get the hypertrophy that is desired. It's one of the oldest forms of physical training in human history. Still the very foundation of military fitness tests, gymnastics, and martial arts conditioning today. Here's what makes it effective. First, building relative strength. Strength relative to your own body weight. That means better balance, coordination, and control, not just actual raw force. Here's what makes calisthenics the most effective thing. First, it builds relative strength. Strength relative to your own body weight. That means better balance, coordination, control, and not just raw force on like a simple gym machine. Second, most calisthenics movements are compound movements. So one exercise, you're basically doing exercise within some other body movement. For example, if you're doing a push-up, you're also doing a plank. If you're doing a pull-up, you're also training your core. Just to add on about the push-up, you're not only training your chest, you're training your shoulders, your triceps, and your core. And third, you're constantly stabilizing your own body weight through space. You build foundational strength that transfers directly to how you actually move in real life, to every day-to-day things. So how you walk in a store, how you go up the stairs. Maybe you drop something on the flight of stairs you're walking on. You're not feeling back pain from all the gym influencer things that you do nowadays. Every gym influence that we have in 2026, everything is normalized to doing peptides. And because this is so normalized nowadays, you almost have this gym mindset where we go to the gym, we do the same lifts over and over, and we become stiff bodybuilders, not actual athletes like we were designed to be. And because we have that kind of gym culture where peptides are normalized, simple day-to-day things can affect them, like going upstairs, bending down, their back hurts. Think about that. But with calisthenics, you are an actual functional athlete. Plus the biggest bonus of like calisthenics, if you're like a busy guy that works 40 to 50, even 60, 70 hours plus a week, you don't have to commute to the gym. It's very time saving, and if you actually plan it right, you can save time without just being a stiff bodybuilder. So lastly, here's what actually matters the most. It's not really about the muscle. It's about what changes in you, about that 1.0 version of you right now that goes into the 2.0 version of yourself. This is you now, and this is the skills and the physique that you want. Along the journey, calisthenics is a sport that makes you fail over and over. It makes you adapt and learn how to fail over and over, because I'm sure you know the term, the more you fail, the more you win. You develop that kind of mindset that applies to everything in life. You develop a discipline, way more discipline on things that you don't want to do. The more things you want to fail in order to win. This isn't just like training bodybuilding and just failing towards reps. This is actual skills like the handstand, the muscle up. You're gonna have to accept failure within calisthenics in order to get the things that you want. And this can apply to everything else in life when you adapt that mindset. Just to add on the 2.0 version of yourself, you have the skills that you want. You're functional. You're doing handstand push-ups. You're doing muscle ups. You're doing front lever. You're doing planks. You're doing all the skills you never thought of. And because you're doing that, you have the physique now that you finally have. And because you have the physique, you have that level of confidence. You're able to take that shirt off. You can finally look proud in the mirror because you finally went through the steps of failing over and over and building that version of your mindset of doing calisthenics to actually fail over and over and becoming that 2.0 version of yourself where you're doing all the skills, where you're having that physique. So, the core movement patterns. I don't care how advanced you are. This is the very basic part of calisthenics. You got the push, you got the pull, you got the legs, squats, and you got the core, right? And then you got the skills, so the push, you have your chest, your shoulders, your triceps. This is the foundational strength of calisthenics. Your foundation of strength is built within these push days, these pull days, these leg days, skills. So you have the difference of push-pull legs and skill, or push-pull legs, and then you have the skills. You can have the physique with just doing this, but you can also have skills. And because it is all relative to each other, that's what makes it so beautiful. Everything can be used to be combined. And when you use the combination of the skills and the raw strength of push-pull legs, that's when you become a more advanced calisthenics athlete, and you develop that functional body and actual really cool strength and skills. That way you can display, because calisthenics is almost a performative based sport. And because it's a performative based sport, you can do the skills wherever you want. You can show it off to your family, you can show it off to your friends, you can compete in it. You can go to the beach, do a handstand, maybe you'll get some admirers. People are influenced by the hard things that you do, and it almost inspires them in a way to go do it too. Some people are inspired by physiques, but you have the physique and the skills as well. So back within the movement patterns. Push, pull, legs. Push is your foundation of push-ups, the variations of push-ups. Diamond, wide, piked. These piked push-ups are essential for the handstand push-ups, or the handstand. And this almost is relative to the skills that you want. So the handstand, the push, they go nicely hand in hand together. Here's what I mean. When you advance into the handstand, you're going to later learn about the handstand push-ups and the more advanced handstand push-ups. This is why the foundation of strength of push-ups and handstand push-ups, they go well together. For the next one, pull-ups. Pull-ups, muscle-ups, they go very well hand in hand together. That is the beauty of calisthenics. They work nicely together. So you got pull-ups, variations of pull-ups, weighted, explosive, close grip, wide grip, false grip, and then muscle up. You're training the essential movements for the muscle up. And those go very well hand in hand together in order to get the muscle up. And then once you have like the actual true foundation strength after muscle ups, that's when you can start training for the front lever or the back lever. Now for legs. I'm going to be a little bit biased here for legs because my training background came from a couple years of stiff bodybuilding. I trained gym weights for a couple years, and then that's when I transitioned to calisthenics. I transitioned because I was feeling stiff and I didn't feel any functionality or any end to it. I didn't get the confidence, all the stuff that I never wanted. It was all through calisthenics. Legs. My legs became big through gym weight training. You're more than welcome to do legs through gym weight training, but I found it more useful using it as a hybrid way. Let me explain. There are certain leg exercises that you can do to get the dragon squat or the pistol squat, but these are so easy to get in like a couple months. But me, I found it more personally useful to do weight training with legs and using a combination of calisthenics, almost a hybrid way. And then I mixed plyometrics for the explosiveness to have the athletic ability to have within calisthenics. So you can use it however way you want. If you want to use just strictly calisthenics, that is completely fine. You can use the explosive part of it too. Last thing, out of the push-pull legs, you can do skills and core. Learning certain various exercises of calisthenics, like the skills, handstand, very progressional exercises within the handstand or the muscle up. And then you have the core, so hollow body holds, you got the L-sit. L-sit is the most foundation movement of calisthenics. And then simply after that is just getting your steps in. The basic thing of calisthenics, the only difference from calisthenics and bodybuilding is just the way how it's actually trained. You still got to get your steps in. Don't count that out. You also got to eat right. You can't just be eating McDonald's or whatever. You actually have to have the diet that's also correct. But building that foundation through calisthenics almost helps you be more disciplined for your diet and just getting your steps in as well. Okay, so quick pause here. If this is actually clicking for you and this is something you actually want to get more serious about and more advanced, and you're just not holding yourself accountable in the sense that you just don't know how to do or don't know how to get there, I have a link in the bio and you can DM me the word calisthenics on Instagram, and we can chat further on the best way how we can help you further into your calisthenics journey and get you to the goals that you actually need. So I'll leave a link in the description of my Instagram. Just DM me the word calisthenics and we can chat further. So how do you actually structure calisthenics? There is various ways you can do it. You can do push-pull legs. You can do that 2 times a week, or you can do push-pull leg skills and core. And you can just do that a week, 4 days, 6 days, however many ways works for you with your schedule. But for the most basic one, I'm just gonna go with the 4-day options. So before we get into the actual day of structuring it, you have to understand within those days, what you wanna do is train these skills first. The skills is going to be the least tiring or the least fatiguing before you get into the hypertrophy aspect of getting into calisthenics. This is what I mean for your push day. You wanna train handstands first, then push-ups. That way you don't fatigue yourself from doing all the push-ups, and then if you do the push-ups first, and then you do the handstand, you're gonna be way more fatigued because handstand is going to acquire a lot more balance versus the other way around. So that is why you should probably do your handstand versus your push-ups first. So first, with your push day, how do you actually do it? This is what you do. You wanna have like a 5-minute mobility routine of warming up your wrists, hands, shoulders, prevent any kind of injury when you go into your handstands. It's a very demanding sport that can risk a lot of injury in some case scenario. If you're not careful and if you just go right into it, you might get injured. So I would do like a 5 to 10 minute mobility warm-up routine. That way you don't injure yourself. And then first, you want to get into your progressions through the handstand. Handstands like the frog stand, the tuck bent arm handstand, those are the first 2 beginner movements of the handstand. And then you want to get into your variations of push-ups. So regular push-ups, finger push-ups, explosive push-ups, diamond, wide, piked. Those are probably the core basics. And then how do you progress from there? Is you progress from tuck bent arm handstand to the more progressive parts of the handstand. And how do you progress through push-ups? If you're getting way too many endurance push-ups, you can add yourself a weighted vest, or you can make it harder by doing 1-arm push-ups. You're doing things with 1 arm. And the way you progress within push-ups is you can do things at a decline to get stronger, but we'll get more into that in the next section of the video. So next is pull-ups. How do you structure pull-up or the pull day? Muscle-ups, pull-ups. You want to warm up first, your 5 to 10 minutes, then you want to get into your muscle-ups. How do you do a muscle-up? No one can just do a muscle-up off rip. You can do negative muscle-ups. That is one. You can do one with a band assist. You can do jumping muscle-ups. And after that, that's when you get into the variations of pull-ups, chin-ups, wide grip pull-ups, narrow grip pull-ups, and you can do even explosive and weighted pull-ups. Next, legs. I'm not going to get too much into legs because legs is just, you got the dragon squat, you got the pistol squat. Those are very simple foundation movements. You can do pistol squats assisted, you can do pistol squat negatives, and the dragon squat is gonna take a lot of mobility to understand that. So it's gonna take a lot of stretching, it's gonna take a lot of mobility. And if you just wanna be athletic, you can just do a whole bunch of plyometrics. What is plyometrics? Plyometrics is explosive workouts or explosive leg work. It can be workouts, but for this case, leg day, it can be explosive leg work to reach maximum strength in little time as much as possible. So after leg day, we got the skills and core. Essentially for this day, you're gonna be training your abs and your core, and you're gonna be learning about the skills that you want, or you're gonna be just basically doing the skills that you wanna do. The handstand and muscle up, you're just training them just to get a little bit better at them, so that way you're not completely new to it when you're going into it to your next day. So there is your actual framework. You can edit it however way you like. There's no really wrong way. It's just, however it is tailored to you. The best ones are not the ones who are going to be doing it every day. The best ones are the ones who show up consistently. They have the right intentions. They're consistent, they're disciplined, and they're patient with it. Do not rush the process because calisthenics is a very patient-giving sport. And, somewhere along the 8 to 12 week stretch, You know, you'll have your own version of yourself in that moment when you come from here to here and you start seeing that little bit progress. That is when you gain momentum. So, and maybe in that version of yourself, you're catching yourself in a reflection of a mirror, and you're seeing progress through your physique, and you're seeing progress through your calisthenic skills. That is the beauty of calisthenics. You develop functional strength in a way where it doesn't compare. So if you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, and if you want to go to the next step or to the next level within calisthenics, and you just really can't hold yourself accountable, or you just don't know really how to get there, DM me the word calisthenics on my Instagram. I'll leave that link in the bio, my Instagram. Or if you want to just get straight into it and just book a call with me, I'll leave my link down there too, and we can talk about how we can actually progress you to the next level within calisthenics, or how to get you even started. So I'll leave all those links in the description. Subscribe if you enjoyed it, subscribe if it helped, leave a comment, and I'll answer your questions. I'll see you for the next video.